Greetings, wargamers! Levius is here, and Corvus Belli just launched a brand new competitive season called Seekers. And here's the core. An invisible war has begun, scientists figure out how to track down alien artifacts, and now there are secret operations everywhere on planet Shinju. Corporations and governments are throwing in their best Black Ops squads with one mission only: get that alien tech at any cost. But let's be real, who cares about them when every faction just got a bunny girl? She was teased way back at Interplanetario and then at Gen Con, and everyone thought only 5 armies would get her. But in the end, turns out she's available to all of them, and honestly, that's pretty awesome. For me, this update is extra interesting. My competitive roster hasn't really changed since, what was it, like March? Yeah, around when I won my first tournament. So I can actually break down how these changes shake things up. What's genuinely exciting and what feels a bit questionable. Straight up, Infinity is still the best competitive skirmish war game out there, and this update, it completely flips the whole mission season on its head. I have been playing Infinity for about 4 years now, and up until this moment, developers have been really conservative with ITS updates. The core set of 15 missions basically carried over from season to season, with barely any changes. New scenarios were rare. In seasons 12 through 14, we only got one per year. Season 15, none. Then, in season 16, we finally got 5 new ones, but the old pool was still there. So what happened at tournaments was pretty predictable. You would mostly end up playing the same 8-10 missions over and over, stuff like Mind Wipe or Highly Classified. Don't get me wrong, there are solid, balanced missions, but let's be honest, when you have been playing the exact same scenarios at every event for years, it gets stale. Meanwhile, the game's lore kept moving forward, but the competitive missions kind of felt stuck in one place. Infinity was craving for a shake-up, something big enough to refresh the meta, give veterans new challenges, and give new players a fair shot at learning armies in fresh conditions. And finally, it happened. The new Seekers season wipes the slate clean. All the old missions are gone, no more countermeasures, no more unmasking. Now we have got only 10 missions total instead of 20, and here's the kicker: 7 of them are completely new, plus 3 that were just added last season back in December. And the whole season theme ties right into the lore. It's all about the Seekers, Sacha, adventurers hungry for treasure and ancient alien artifacts, who are heading deep into the ruins and wasteland of planet Shinju. But before we dive in, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. Corvus Belli actually noticed me and invited me to their content creator program, which is super cool. So if you want to support a stubborn tournament grinder and a rookie YouTuber in our Infinity niche, I would really appreciate it. And before finally getting into the tournament missions, let's talk about the seasonal rules first. The very first thing that caught my eye when I opened up the new season was the operational learning mechanic. Before, if your willpower was low, you could easily fail 5 times in a row just trying to push a single button on a console. Now though, in some missions, there's a rule where every failed roll actually gives you a bonus on the next one, up to 2 dice with +3. What I really like is that Corvus Belli didn't make this a universal rule, it only applies in specific missions. So sometimes you get to make up for bad luck with extra chances, but in other missions the button is still gonna be as stubborn as ever. Now, some of you are probably thinking, well, from a design perspective, Corvus Belli just gave us a way to save precious orders in resource-heavy missions. And yeah, that's true, but me, I say this is pure genius from Corvus Belli. Because every single time you fail a willpower check on a console, you will immediately think of this new rule, and of course, realize it doesn't exist in the mission you're actually playing. And sure, the bonus is strong enough that usually by the second roll you will succeed. But I want you all to come back to this video and leave a comment every single time you fail to press that damn button, even with it's the maximum bonus. Second big change, at the start of every mission, players now drop a treasure token on the table. Controlling that token can count as completing a secure HVT card, but it's actually treasure secure. And on top of that, every army just got a brand new mercenary specialist, the one and only Sacha. She comes with a climbing plus, forward deployment, flash pulse, EM grenades and a stun pistol. And also, she got the booty rule too. And the funniest part, Sacha can pull gear directly out of treasure tokens by rerolling her booty chart. And I promise you, there isn't a single Infinity chat group in the world where someone hasn't already joked about him rolling up Mimetis -6 and an HMG, but I still rolling only explosive and double action close combat weapons on this chart. Corvus Belli basically looked at last season's Warcores with silent pistols and thought, you know what, let's double down on the madness. And honestly, it's a brilliant idea, just hand out EM grenades to everyone in a game full of giant robots that those grenades completely shut down. By the way, in USA Ariadna, Sacha shows up as a disco baller as well. I guess that's good. Oh, and one more thing. In Resilience operations, now every turn you have to reveal one of your objective cards to your opponent. Cool? Yeah, I guess so. Honestly though, I haven't touched Resops since their release. Alright, let's dive into the missions finally. And we're kicking things off with the headline edition of the season, the very first official asymmetric mission, Critical Intervention. This one is all about turn order. One player is the attacker, the other is the defender. The attacker's job is to break into the central room and pull a data pack out of the console. The defender's job? Stop them at all costs. And the defender actually gets some fun tools to work with. They can spend a command token to activate turrets in the room, or deploy up to 65 points worth of troops directly inside the room. The goals are completely opposite. The attacker has to grab the data pack and keep the model that took it alive. The defender has to protect the data pack, or, if that fails, at least take out the model that's carrying it. There's also a funny loophole. The rules never actually say the defender can't grab the data pack themselves, so technically, yeah, they can just yoink it and deny the attacker's points entirely. On top of that, both players can score for kills and for controlling the room at the end of the game. Overall, this is a fantastic addition. The mission really forces you to prep your list for both roles, and we're definitely going to hear stories about lightning-fast rushes that give the defender no chance at all. And the opposite, where defenders lock down the console with deployable cover so hard that you can't even get near it. Next up, we have got another brand new mission, Ekel Interference. This one replaces the old countermeasures and highly classified. The first big change? You don't need to pack your list with every specialist under the sun anymore. Instead, at the start of each round, you pick one of two cards and your opponent does the same. That creates a shared pool. So at least now you have got a chance to choose an objective you can actually complete. Or toss your opponent a card that's basically impossible for them. But it gets even more interesting. The table just got way busier because now each player places 4 HVTs. And the most important piece? The central console. Activating it lets you either cancel one of your opponent's completed cards or swap out a card from the shared pool for a new one, which opens the door for some real trick plays, like finishing an easy card early, then immediately removing it so your opponent is stuck with only fresh, harder objectives. Or those hilarious situations where you and your opponent both flip the exact same combo of cards 2 turns in a row. Scoring works like this: points for completing cards, points if you finish more cards than your opponent, and points if you get at least one done every round. Honestly, it feels like Corvus Belli seriously simplified the card-based mission so that everyone, even without a super specialized roster, can score consistently. Whether that was the right call or not, we will find out as the season plays out. And for me personally, this is the very first mission I'm going to test in my local league. Next up, Corporate Appropriation. Think of it as a mind wipe, but backwards. The mission gives you two opposite tasks. On one hand, you need to snatch the enemy prototype from the center of the table and bring it back to your deployment zone. On the other hand, you're trying to destroy your own prototype in close combat. Here's the twist: so even your own prototype is treated as a hostile target. It fights back with stun ammunition, and the worst part, you don't even get close combat bonuses against it. And my personal plan: surround it with 3 troops around and dump all my D charges at once with a single order. Make sure it doesn't even have a time to squeak before it blows. Scoring in the mission comes from a few things: stealing the enemy prototype and delivering it into your deployment zone, destroying your own prototype so the enemy can't grab it, looting panoplies, and the 3 classified objects. Next mission on the list is Crossing Lines, and this one seriously shakes up the usual gameplay with some very non-standard deployment rules. Here's the gimmick. You can deploy units up to 75 points directly on your opponent's half of the table, inside a second deployment zone. But at the same time, the mission completely shuts off all superior deployment rules, so no infiltration here. Scoring is straightforward. You get points for controlling zones at the end of each round and at the end of the game, plus for activating consoles. The way I picture it in a narrative way, two squads stumbling through a sandstorm. Then suddenly, the storm clears and they realize they have materialized right on top of each other in the thick of the fight. Or imagine a teleport in the ruins of Shinju that just drops both teams in the same hot zone. From there, it's simple. Winner is holding ground and the loser getting pushed out. From a tactics angle, this mission is basically an open invitation to experiment. I'm already thinking minefields and stacking total reaction bots in the middle just to make life fun for the opponent. And hey, mark my words, total reaction baggage bots are gonna shine here. Next mission, Hardlock. Honestly, it's just beacons with consoles. Feels like it was constructed together straight out of Resilience operation cards. Not much more to say here. Scoring goes for stealing the enemy beacon, keeping your own beacon, activating consoles, and one classified. Now, onto provisioning. A scenario first shown at Interplanetario, and yeah, it comes with corner deployment zones, which means along with minis and a tape measure, you're also gonna need a compass. As they say, carry your cross with you at all times. This one is worth paying attention to, because not everyone made it to Interplanetario. The corner deployment zones are slightly smaller than standard, but the gap between deployments is nearly 2 inches shorter. Getting in your opponent's face is way easier, and where's my 15 impetuous list when I need it? That said, the mission doesn't really get simpler. You have to grab supply boxes and carry them into the safe area you pick at the start of the game. Best strategy is put it as far away from your opponent as possible. Scoring is going for controlling supply boxes, having more boxes in your safe area than your opponent, making sure your opponent has none, and the classified objects. It's honestly a super fun mission. Can't wait to work as a part-time courier in Infinity right after finishing a full day at the office. And finally, the last new mission, Zone of Interest, which has sparked the most debate online. Before deployment, each player places a Zone of Interest template to control during the game. On top of that, the first player places an extra special Zone of Interest template, which gives extra points each round if controlled. In the center of the table sits a console, and activating it scores 1 point at the end of the game. Now here's the juicy part. The console's activation skill says, if you have a hacker in a zone of interest, you can prevent your opponent from activating the console. It's a face-to-face roll. So what's the problem? The game doesn't really account for rolls that don't fit into the order sequence rules. Formally, stopping a console activation isn't an ARO, and the rules don't cover it. Which means, technically, a unit can both block the console and still declare a valid ARO, for example, if you see an enemy or if the opponent enters their hacking area. Right now, the only way to deal with this loophole is a local agreement on how you're going to handle it. Personally, I'm really into this mission. I never liked the obvious advantage the second player has in deployment and zone control. Here, that advantage still exists, but at least the first player gets a chance to set up the board to make controlling zones a bit easier for him. And you know what's the coolest part? Corvus Belli is just on fire. Check this out. The devs are absolutely not holding back with their creativity. Board? Forget it. It's gonna take at least 6 months just to wrap our heads around all this goodness. And I haven't even mentioned the big announcement yet. We're getting the long-awaited release of the new Combined Army Sectorial Next Wave. That's next-level hype on a universal scale. Plus, the legacy armies are coming back, the ones that disappeared in N5 and fans have been whining about ever since. Corvus Belli hasn't forgotten, they're updating them and bringing them back beautifully into the game. Honestly, I think we're witnessing a golden age of Infinity. So much content, attention to detail, and an open dialogue with the community. Other wargames still have a lot of catching up to do. So, friends, it's the perfect time to dive into headfirst, build your armies, read the lore, get ready for tournaments. It's shaping up to be an epic year. And I wanna know, which of these announcements got you most hyped? Are you switching armies this season? I definitely not. Drop a comment below, I read as many as I can and reply to all of them. Thanks for being so active. And thanks for watching, smash that like button and see you on the game, Wargamers!